Is Terry McLaurin worth the massive number he is asking for is the question that we need to ask ourselves now that we kind of have context here. McLaurin is, per Albert Breer, when he was on 106.7 The Fan in Washington, could be looking for in the $30 million range per season in his new contract. His quote was, "I don't think it's in a great place right now. That's the concerning indicator. If you're Terry McLaurin, you look at it and you're saying, don't even come to me with anything that doesn't start with a 3, meaning 30 per year. I think it's fair for him to ask for something in that range just based on where the market has gone. I think they will eventually get something done." For very important added details here, Terry McLaurin is the only receiver in franchise history to have 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. We talked about his stats last time we did this segment, but I didn't realize that he is on track to maybe being the best receiver in Commanders history.
Yeah,
he's well on track for that. And he was second-team All-Pro last year and his second Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he's well on pace to be passing Art Monk. He is close to passing Santana Moss in the memorable moment, fan favorite wide receiver of all time. But Santana Moss had too many big moments against the Cowboys. Terry needs a couple more of those, even though he got the best over Diggs multiple times in games. Terry's worth the 30. Terry's worth whatever you can get him for, because if you try to stall this, he will get paid somewhere else and he will make an impact somewhere else. And he's a guy where he thrived in the shit. He thrived 1,000-yard seasons and he didn't have a quarterback for the first 4 of them. Are you kidding?
You can't hang him out now. You can't do it now. Right. After everything, you can't just be like, no, well, we don't think you were, you weren't the main reason for our success. Bullshit.
You were the only reason. He was the only reason they were getting down the field. Give me a break. Yes, he is worth the 30. He's only going to get more expensive. Jaden Daniels seems to like him. And additionally, who was Jaden Daniels throwing to that wasn't Zach Ertz to win ball games? Let's recall that Cincinnati Bengals win, 4th quarter, drop it in the bucket. Who catches it? Terry Big Dick McLaurin catches it, walking in, shattering the Bengals' hearts. That's what he will do with Jaden Daniels. You know what? This makes a lot of sense. Let's just separate the peanut butter and the jelly. We'll sell them as their own sandwiches.
We'll stick a pickle in there.
Yeah,
you want everyone to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Here's peanut butter and mayo, and then we got jelly and honey. Hey, okay, go ahead, pick them. Whatever you want. This is what you get, but you don't get peanut butter and jelly anymore.
Well, I would argue those options that you just presented actually aren't that bad. Like, it needs to be
because they're still not that bad. Like jelly and honey, that's Jaden Daniels. You still got a quarterback of the future, but it's not a PB&J.
Yeah, but we're talking about right now that the next listed man behind him is Chris Moore. Luke McCaffrey? I would argue that's a pickle with peanut butter. That sounds like shit. That sounds awful. Hey man, you want some pickles on your peanut butter and jelly? We're out of jelly. How about some pickles?
McCaffrey's TikTok fodder for them. He's the quirked up white receiver that's what he is, and I get it. You need Terry to be there. Terry has been a leader. Terry is a veteran wide receiver presence that isn't a dramatic diva wide receiver number 1 that shows up lunch pail. He is the receiver and the NFL player that you write about. That these old heads they yearn for this type of player. They yearn for the guy that doesn't need to be the glitzy guy out with the paparazzi. He doesn't need to be OBJ on a boat. He doesn't need to be Malik Neighbors with the diamonds dancing. It's Terry McLaurin. He comes in, he gets 1,000 yards a year, and he makes your team better. And he did it when he didn't need to. So just pay him the 30. Pay him the 32. Pay him 34. It's going to be worth it. He's also a very healthy receiver. He is consistently on the field. So you want to sacrifice that for somebody? Go ahead. Yeah. The return on investment needs to be monstrous if you decide not to go through with this. It needs to be something that you couldn't a Juan Soto to the Padres get back for the Nats, which they've squandered, but it has turned out to be a very big haul for them. It needs to be a massive proportion return if you don't want to keep a guy of his caliber.
Here are the 2 guys that I would compare him to that he should be making more money than. Because if we look at the rest of the average per year contracts, he's not better than Jamar Chase. He's not better than Justin Jefferson. He's not better than CeeDee Lamb. They're making 40, 35, 34 in that order. DK is making 33. He's statistically been like kind of on par. AJ Brown's been a lot more dominant than Terry McLaurin. Amon-Ra St. Brown's making 30. He's been more dominant. He's got a 1,500-yard season very recently. But T. Higgins is making 28-7, and he has 2 1,000-yard years. The last 2 seasons, he hasn't played more than 12 games, and he had 656 and then 911 yards. So not great stats for T. Higgins. We know that he's a great player, but Terry McLaurin has outperformed him. He deserves more than him. Brandon Ayuk, who's making 30, has an 1,000-yard season in 2022, a 1,300-yard season in 2023, and then only played 7 games in 2024 because he suffered a serious injury. He doesn't have massive production. He has 2 really good years that earned him the big contract that he just got. Terry McLaurin has been the epitome of consistency. But here's my main take with all this. You just went and brought in Deebo Samuel. Deebo, like, this would be absurd if they traded Terry McLaurin or if they just said, no, we're not going to give it to you. Mm-hmm. And then Terry walks and then you still have just Deebo. Deebo, and this was the whole talking point that we had, does not work if he is the only wide receiver. If he is wide receiver 1.
Not anymore.
They just tried, the 49ers this last year, they tried as hard as they could at the end of the season to make that work. He is a gadget guy that works when he is able to create for himself when attention is diverted elsewhere. That was why Deebo was so good, because he was been able to be deployed so creatively. But when he was matched up against number 1 corners, he struggled. He was ass. He was not good. So you're just recreating that same bad circumstance that happened this past year for the 49ers. Why would you do that? Why would you bring in Deebo if you weren't going to respect Terry McLaurin and you knew that this was coming up?
He also wasn't wearing 19 last year, which is a fatal flaw. Deebo needs to be in a double-digit number. Please, dear God.
44.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's inspired.
It's going to be the very first outside F.
I want Deebo to own it and go with a big 88. Just let me be a big hardy 88.
What about 52?
50. I don't know if you're allowed to wear 52 out wide, Joe.
38.
Oh, 38. That could be fun.
38. That's 19 times 2.
38 could be fun.
He's double as big.
That's
now.
38 times 1.
Stupid. Dumbass.
Stupid. I'm sorry.
Bad joke, and you could have unhooked your mic by slapping it.